Hi, everyone. Welcome to What's on Your Bucket List. It's not a game show, but we're going to have lots of fun tonight. We had the awesome experience last week, as Darla and I did, of going to a place like the picture that you see behind us. We went to the actual place, though. We got to go to Kauai, Hawaii. And that awesome trip that we had was 17 years in the making. So we worked really hard raising 6 kids after we got married and working hard at our jobs. And we saved our money a little bit at a time. And we finally took our honeymoon trip that we didn't take when we got married because we had 6 kids that had to go back to school the next day after 2 days later after we got married. So we thought about this for a long time, and it was on our bucket list to go back to Hawaii. We had been lucky enough to go have somebody take us there. My parents took us to Oahu in 2007, and that was an awesome trip. And we just wanted to go back there by ourselves and have a wonderful time. Hi, Colette.
Hi.
We were just starting to talk about our Hawaii trip last week and how awesome it was to be at that wonderful place. And we'll ask you about some of your wonderful adventures you're looking forward to here in just a minute.
Okay.
So anyway, on Hawaii, the second day we drove down to this beach called Oipu Beach. And there were sea turtles right there on the beach. Huge sea turtles that we could see. And they were just resting. They weren't in any hurry. And all of a sudden, the tide would start to roll in, and one of them would kind of inch closer to the tide. He would inch a little closer and a little closer. And after about 15 minutes, he got down to where the water was coming up and the tide was coming in stronger, that it just enveloped him and he was gone. When he got in the water, he was fast. You know, we always think about the turtle and the hare, and the tortoise is slow, right? Well, these sea turtles, they're fast when they get in the ocean. And that was just a magnificent experience to see that. And then Darla and I got to go snorkel in just a little bit of water, like 5 or 6 feet of water. And we saw 10 or 12 kinds of different fish. It was amazing. And we saw so many fish, we had to go. They had this placard out there by the beach. And so we could go name them all. And Darla took pictures of them so we could remember what we saw. But if you've seen Finding Nemo, all the fish in that tank that Nemo gets stuck in, we saw all those fish. We even saw Scar, if you know what I'm talking about. So we had an awesome time. Darla, what did you enjoy about our bucket list trip that we took?
Watching you see the fish. I think more fish saw us than we probably saw.
Yeah.
Think about that one. I really enjoyed the turtles. It was so cool. Do you guys know what turtles say? No? Totally, dude. Come on. That's what turtles say.
What else did you enjoy besides that, Darla?
Oh, gosh. Just going to Hawaii is just phenomenal. And I started thinking about the island of Kauai has all this different terrain. And there's mountains and valleys and beaches, or, it's an island. So, of course, there's a beach. But it has a Grand Canyon like Arizona. and there's pine trees up there at the top, and it's like it's amazing. All the different areas just look so different, and there's farmland and coffee growing, and I really enjoyed just seeing all the different plants. We have all the plants that are there that we don't have here, and the waterfalls. It's just beautiful. It's simply getting away, you know. Our Wi-Fi didn't work good. That was awesome. To have a half a bar, it was great. Yes,
Yeah,
unplugging for
Darla said
sure.
we got to go see the coffee growing. And, if you look on the map or a globe, you find Hawaii, and then Kauai is one of these little islands. You can hardly even see it on the map. But we saw the largest estate of coffee beans ever in the United States growing there in Kauai. It's all over the place. Coffee bean trees or bushes. I'm not sure what they are. I think they were trees. They were tall enough to be trees. And I like coffee. Darla doesn't, so that's okay. But we saw all those coffee beans. That was just crazy. And saw all the different colors they are. I mean, coffee's always black unless you put milk in it, right? Well, there's all these different stages that coffee beans go through. It's so exciting. And the Grand Canyon. And then we saw this beautiful lighthouse we were up on a peak of a hill, the crest of a hill, and we could look out and see this lighthouse there on the north side of the island, and just the bluest water you ever did see. Just absolutely amazing. Colette, have you had a trip that you've taken that just you got to see all kinds of wonderful things, or are you looking forward to one possible?
Oh my gosh, I popped in at just the right time because I was thinking about this all day. Like, what are things on my bucket list? What things do I want to do? And I immediately thought of trips and things like this. But then as you guys are talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally remember. Like, we have been to Kauai, and Kauai is amazing. We were able to take a helicopter tour while we were there. And my husband enjoyed the turtles greatly as well. He actually held on to one of the turtles and it started to dive down. And he held on to it as long as he could before he had to let go. But he's like, that sucker just dove and dove and dove. But my trip that I would probably relate to with yours was Tortola. And we have had the blessing in that my in-laws, when Jake and I first got married, said that every other year is our year for Thanksgiving to do a family trip. And this was before we all had kids and everything. It was my brother and sister-in-law and my in-laws and Jake and I. So it was just the six of us for several years, and they would take us on a trip during that Thanksgiving break, and it was awesome. And our first one that I remember is Tortola, and it's down in the British Virgin Islands. And man, that is Hawaii, but it is with no pace, no tourism or anything at all. And so you get all that beauty and you get all of the slowness of it. But Hawaii is so filled with, you got to see this, you got to do this, you got to do this, and it's go, 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 and see all these things. And Tortola was just beauty, and just see it when you can. And the market was slow paced. There was very little tourism and things there. And the one thing I remember the most was we went to this beach that had an honor bar, and the beach actually had a refrigerator. I don't even know how it was plugged in, but it had a refrigerator, an old school refrigerator filled with drinks and beer and bottles of wine. And it had a wooden bar with a tip jar, and it was called the Honor Bar. And you just went and put money into the jar and took what you wanted from that
Nice.
particular bar. And it was the coolest thing. It had this big old foam plastic shark hanging next to the fridge. But it was super cool. The beach was not crowded at all. It was just the six of us and maybe another couple far down the beach. And it was just a totally different experience. And I had actually been there. I think we'd gone to Hawaii maybe one time before that and then went there. And then we went back to Hawaii a couple other times. But man, Jake and I are drawn to the Virgin Islands because it is the beauty, but just 100% chill compared to the Hawaiian Islands. So I would say that is definitely a place Jake and I want to go back to for sure. I have other items that are on my bucket list that aren't travel, but that would be my one travel that I have done that I would love to do again.
I think you just added something to our bucket list.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes, Tortola is one, St. John, St. Thomas. Any of those islands are the same feel beauty-wise, but just so much less people. I mean, you can get sailboats and charter a sailboat, and it's amazing. And it's just a few people. You know, you meet the most random people on these trips. They're not just your typical tourist people. They're from Europe. They're from Australia. They're from wherever. And it's just cool to hang out with those kinds of people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, as you're saying that, and Darla is finding something to write on, let me just tell everybody that if you comment here on this post where we're going live, we will send you a free bucket list planner.
Yes.
And it actually has places where you can write down where you want to go. So if you look at, we got travel destination, special events like baseball games. There's playoff baseball game going on right now. Maybe somebody wants to go to that. It's never been to a playoff game before, or football games. Awards and recognition. Maybe you've got something at work you would like to do. Meeting famous people. We're going to go through these. Unique experiences. I have a unique experience every single day with Darla, you guys. It is absolutely amazing. And I just leave my blank and she fills it in. It is amazing how it happens. We have service projects. Maybe you want to go and, work and help people in a service project. Or maybe you would like to learn something new. You feel like you've retired and you want to start a career that you really love. So maybe that's something you want to do. But we have this free for you. And just comment that you'd like to have it, and we'll be sure and get you a copy. Of course, leave us a Facebook Messenger somewhere we can contact you to send it to you. But it's a free bucket list planner, and I know that Darla is filling hers out already.
So we've come across so many people that forget how to dream, and they're just like, yeah, I'm good, living day to day, same old, same old. You hear people say that a lot. Like, hey, how's your world? What's changed this year? Oh, nothing. It's the same. It's good. It's just nothing new, And so the reason that we want to spark some ideas for you is so that it helps you know, one, you have permission to dream. It's okay. It's okay to be, it's good to be content and appreciate what you have, but it's also okay to dream about something that you would like for you or your family or for others in the future. So simply being in Arizona, we have mountains with snow and snow skiing. We have the desert. We have lakes where you can enjoy recreation on a lake. We have the Grand Canyon. Do you know how many people live in Arizona and have not seen the Grand Canyon? It's amazing to me. So the beauty of the world is right here at our fingertips. We just have to make a plan to go do it. And sometimes it's nice to use our social media to reach out and say, hey, I want to go see the Grand Canyon. Anybody else want to go this weekend? Should we make a game of it? Anybody else want to go see a ghost town? We have ghost towns in Arizona. Anybody want to go? So we have mines, copper mines, and all kinds of fun things to go see just in our own state right here. So I know all the rest of the states have jewels and special intricacies of every state. And Kevin and I have been lucky enough to cross some things off our bucket list. We've gotten to go to New England and see the leaves change. We've gotten to go whale watching. We've been to Boston. We've been to Philly. We've been to Chicago. We've been to, we've just like, we're in America, but there's all different cultures in all of those places. And it's really, really cool to go be in that environment and see Washington, D.C., see the redwoods. The redwoods are on my bucket list. I haven't been able to really go hug a redwood, so that's on mine. Again, here in Arizona, we have hot air balloons. We look out our door every Saturday, Sunday morning during the week. I'm driving to work and there's 14, 15 hot air balloons right here in our neighborhood flying over our homes. So it's phenomenal. If you want to go jump out of an airplane, those are different things that are on people's bucket list. So Kevin and I have been able to go to a lot of baseball games too. We used to travel a lot, and so we were able to go to different baseball games. But we have baseball games right here in our own town, and it doesn't have to be expensive, and it doesn't have to be major league. I think one of the most fun baseball games we went to was up in New York State, and we saw a minor league play. But it was more like a hometown, like a small hometown, but it was an excellent baseball game. And everybody there was just so into it and having so much fun. We've gotten to stay right on Times Square in New York City. You guys got to do some adventures, Anyway, so all those things that, like, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What are you going to do?
Right. And honestly, you might be like I was. I didn't even know. I grew up in Indiana with corn all around me. And I didn't even know about some of these places. And Darla has shown me about how awesome it is to go other places and find out how other people live and what other people eat. Most of the time, find out what they eat. I went to New Mexico one time, and I had to tell him I was from Indiana because I can't have too spicy food.
Because green chili is pretty hot in Mexico. Real green chili.
But Colette, you said you had some other things in other categories on your bucket list. Tell us about something on a different category than travel.
Well, okay, so I would say, travel is definitely a huge one of mine. I follow probably more people that do RV traveling a lot. So that's definitely a tough one. I could talk forever about that and things I've experienced and things I want to experience. I have on my list in my trailer of where we want to go. But in just talking with a friend tonight, I think one of the things that's on my bucket list that I really, really want to do, but scares the bejeebies out of me, is to talk to a group live on a stage. And to, even just if it's about ULA, which I love and adore, or if it's about teaching, or if it's about kids or whatever. But I would really love that. I think the high after that would be awesome. But it terrifies me to do it. But it's one of those things like riding in a hot air balloon. I too have never done that. See those all the time floating around here, but I've never done it. Jumping out of an airplane. My husband's done it multiple times. Would never do that, but I would love to get up on stage and talk to people. So I think that would be one of my things that's not in the travel category to do.
That's really great. I can see you in your school gymnasium, for instance, and telling all of the elementary school kids there, talking about ULA and what their ULA adventure was and what their goals are, etc. That would be great.
Yeah,
just like
hopefully. Right.
We're going to make that happen.
Yep, we
bring
can.
the-
I started talking to them this week about it, and they're getting excited. They're definitely a goal-oriented group. I think today we hit 20. I have 24 students, and I think I have 18 kids out of my 24. Today was the cutoff, at least the day I made the cutoff for their goals. And so I think that put us at over 75% of my class in just the first quarter of reaching all of their goals, which is phenomenal because usually it's like 50% the first quarter, and then it goes up to about that. So I'm super excited for them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you guys you can't see it. Let me raise my camera here if I can. And you can see that on my back wall, I actually have a picture of a famous baseball player, Iron Man, Cal Ripken, as well as 2 pictures of stadiums where a game is going on. And like Darla said, with Darla, some without, some with her son, I've been able to go to over half the baseball stadiums in the United States. This is Major League Baseball. So I am on a quest to go to all of them before I kick the bucket. And that's what's on my bucket list. I want to go watch a game, and I collect a hat. I get a baseball cap when I go there to make sure I know that I was there. And so that's one thing on my bucket list as far as a great, destination event to go to. I haven't been to a playoff game yet, but that's another thing that's on my list. And then after I get all the baseball done, I might start on football.
So everyone listening here, I'm learning this about my husband, and I live with him. So just ask for this download, because when you start doing this and it sparks your memory and you get everybody in your family to do it, you will connect better and you will come together as a family, and it will be amazing. So you'll get to learn what other people's bucket list items are. Wouldn't that be fun? Sometimes they won't really tell you until they really think about it. And so having the download is a good tool to use.
And if you start talking about it with your kids, I mean, let's face it, most of these things spark when you're teenagers or, before, 10, 11, 12, all of that. And then you just kind of let go of those. So if you write them down with your kids now, then that'd be awesome to even fulfill those. That'd be cool.
Very cool.
Idea.
Darla, what other categories of things have you thought of while we've been on the call? We're going to wrap this up pretty soon, but anything else that you wanted to bring up that's on your bucket list?
Not really, except for if your health isn't good, and something on your bucket list might be to do a health challenge or be able to be healthy enough to, where my brain goes, go to Disney World with your family. Maybe you got to work out a knee thing, or maybe that would motivate you to get that hip fixed or something. I don't know. But if you put a fun reason out there, maybe that's something that would inspire you to figure out how you can work out a health issue to be able to be healthy enough to go have fun.
That's right. That's a great one. And we have 7 grandchildren. I know you're saying Darla does not look old enough to have 7 grandchildren, and you're exactly right, but we do. We have 7 grandchildren, and I've had all 7 grandchildren here at my house. And I think I would rather take them to Disneyland or Disney World and let them go have fun than have them all trying to have fun at my house.
I think we should do one of those big cruises where they go to the island, but everybody's on the cruise, so then we could sort of be together and take turns, but then not really be together. I think all us ULA people should go together, and then we could have a big old cruise ship and have fun together. Be great.
Okay, Colette, one more from you. What else is on your list?
I don't know. I mean, most of mine that I thought of were linked to travel, other than that one I shared. But for those of you that I'm going to share more of a tip than I will a bucket list item. But those of you that do RV, I learned this about a year ago from a couple that I follow, who actually is from here in Arizona. They travel around the United States full time now in their RV, and they do a thing called Harvest Hosts. And Harvest Hosts is a super thing to do if you are an RV person, because it's an app that you download on your phone, and you can find all these different places that you can stay at. And they can be wineries, they can be farms, they can be all different kinds of things. And this past summer, my family and I got to take a trip that was 20 or 21 days long. And we stayed at 4 different Harvest Hosts. And our very first one we stayed at was a potato farm. And it was super fun because we were the only people that were there. Usually they will allow you to stay on their property in a certain area. And you don't pay to stay there, but the expectation is that you contribute to something that they have. So like this place had potato chips because they made potatoes. So we bought a lot of potato chips from them, and they were wonderful. I mean, we stayed off of their property, but on like right near their pivots off of their fields and everything. It was beautiful there. And then we stayed at another one that was like a wine distillery. And so we bought some wine from them. Again, very beautiful vineyards everywhere and whatnot. I'm trying to think. We stayed at one other one. Oh, we stayed at a beer one that was a brewery. And again, it was right off the Snake River. So we were able to camp right off of there. And we just literally walked to the brewery, and they served dinner. And it was great for the kids to hang out and whatnot. So it cost us a meal to stay there for the night. And then our last one of all the places was the one I did not want to go to, because I told my husband, I don't want to stay here. It was an excavation yard. And it was filled with all kinds of machinery and whatnot. And they kept saying, well, we start early, so you're going to hear machinery and everything. You didn't. I mean, it was 7 o'clock before they fired anything up. But my house where I live anyway, my father-in-law has lots of machinery anyway. So we hear that kind of stuff all the time anyway. But they actually had their store that they had in their office was Young Living products. So it worked out perfectly because I was at my trip, run certain things, and so I just bought things from them, and it worked out really, really well. And you meet so many different people, and you learn about their cultures and everything in there. So those of you that do RV and want to add that to your list of things to do of all your traveling, even if it's like a 2-week trip, or a week trip, you can stay 1 or 2 nights at these Harvest Hosts and get so much out of it. They're very pet friendly, kid friendly places. So that's more my tip than item from my
That's
list.
great. Yeah, that's a super idea. So like Darla said, and Colette's talking about, it doesn't have to be something that costs $1 zillion, if there is $1 zillion. You can go places and put them on your bucket list right where you are, probably, and find adventures. That's the main thing. Make sure it's an adventure for you. It's fun. It's something you've always wanted to do, and you keep letting life get in the way. So write it down and make a plan. You may have to save up for it like we did, or maybe it's something you can afford to go do this weekend. But write it down and then start checking those items off and have fun when you're out there living your bucket list. We want to thank Darla and Colette for joining us tonight. And remember, you can get this free bucket list planner. Just comment below, and we'll be glad to give you that planner, and you can make your own bucket list. There's the planner. All right. Fantastic. Everyone, have a great evening. And Darla, sign us off.
Be grateful, have faith, and come get your ULA life with us. This is what we do. We have fun.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.